Good evening, and welcome to the Boys from the Baltic Star. Tonight we are playing Stanley Parable, which is a game I know absolutely nothing about beyond the fact I've been told it's good. That is literally the only thing I know about it. So, so it's apparently good, and apparently therefore I will enjoy it. This is a Ben Fiddles evening, so during the week we tend to play narrative style computer games, and this is tonight's narrative style computer game. I'm Ben, and because it's a Ben Fiddles one, I am joined tonight by the disembodied voice of Sock Fiddler. Good evening, Socks, how are you?
Very good, thank you very much. I'm feeling a little bit like the Cheshire Cat. When you said disembodied voice, I'm sort of, I don't know, that's what it brought to mind tonight. A little bit Lewis Carroll and trippy, and I'm not trippy. I just feel like, I don't know, if I was to be anything this evening, it would be the Cheshire Cat. Yeah,
Well,
that's how I am, slightly surreal.
actually, Cheshire Cat, it could be worse than being compared to that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that. He was a bit of a mischief maker. I prefer Bagpuss. I mean, in the realm of cats, I'd go with Bagpuss ultimately, but Cheshire Cat, probably a strong 2 or 3 on my list, yeah.
Bagpuss is a classic. I think I would aspire to Bagpuss, but ultimately be Garfield, if you know what I mean.
I was thinking probably quite a lot of the time I would think you are Bagpuss. But then you said Garfield, and I'm like, well, that's just rude. I can't call you that. How are you with lasagna? Is that a big thing for you?
Actually, I can't eat lasagna at all.
I'm not going to ask why.
No, lasagna is not a thing I can be compatible with. Not even slightly.
Well, there go your dreams of Garfield out the window. I'm afraid, Bucket.
Yes. Mind you, I'm not
That's
a
very
big fan of
rude.
Mondays.
Oh, see, now I'm drifting towards Boomtown Rats and Bob Geldof. It's just terrible. I'm going all over the place
He
today.
he lives in my town, you know, Bob Geldof.
Does he?
Yeah.
Why? I mean, not that there's anything wrong with your town, but why? Why would Bob Geldof, like, that's just bonkers.
I genuinely don't know. But he lives just in the outskirts of Faversham.
I
I
think
say
maybe
the
he wants to be
outskirts, it's
close to
fairly
Luke.
central
I think
actually.
I think he's probably stalking Luke. I mean, everybody does, really, don't they? At
It's
some
it's
point.
possible.
Mm.
I mean, technically I think I've probably lived here longer than Geldof. And Luke's a bit younger than me, so I'm not sure if he has. But yeah, it's
Crazy.
he's
The
one of our sort
things
of
you learn.
local famouses. In fact, he's probably the most famous of the local famouses.
He is pretty famous. That's a pretty decent boast.
Yeah, you occasionally bump into him in a restaurant.
All right, Bob. All right, Ben. How you doing? All right.
I
No
think
lasagna. Not tonight, Bob.
I'm pretty sure he doesn't know my name.
And he doesn't speak with Danny Dyer's fake accent. Yeah.
Probably not. What with being, Irish.
Very Irish. Canterbury, 1980 to 82, just out of fact. Wow. I mean, Luke is all over the Geldof love. I'm just saying. By the way, Luke, how's your finger? I hope it's doing better. Nobody likes a creaky digit. I'm going to call a character creaky digit. I've got to write that down. That's not going to wait a week.
That's now a character trait, is it?
Oh no! That's going to be an NPC buy for the next traveller stream I'm able to make.
Yes.
Oh, so I
Well,
can tell how excited you are by that side, Ben.
well, I hope the bulging purple thing won't interfere with gaming, Luke. I hope it won't, because that would be very sad.
You know, I've heard that if you use your other hand, it feels like somebody else is doing this. I couldn't even finish. Okay, what about this bloody game we're
Yes, the game,
playing?
the Stanley Parable. So it's all very nice catching up
Blimey.
on stream, but the Stanley Parable. So
We have a job to do. Yes.
I mean, I literally downloaded it like an hour ago. The
Mhm.
only thing I've seen so far are the option screens. So tell me,
Okay.
what is the Stanley Parable?
Well, I can't tell you too much because it's one of those games that forewarned is forearmed. However, it's 10 years old this year, which is mind blowing. And it came out of that early noughties, like 2010s explosion of games that weren't games anymore. They were exploring what else you could do in these sort of pre-designed experiences, if you see what I mean. So it follows a fellow called Stanley, and it was developed by somebody who's quite famous now. I think his name is William Pugh, but I couldn't tell you what else he's done because I didn't do my research. Yeah, it won a lot of awards, but in categories that sort of indicated that people didn't really know what was going on. Like, we know it's a good game, but there's no combat, there's no dialogue, there's no characters, there's just this. So people didn't really know what to make of it. And of course, since then, loads of stuff has happened where, you know, you get these games where you're just sort of wandering blindly through, and it, you know, whatever your experience is what your experience is. But I think Stanley was probably towards the back of the leading edge of that, if you see what I mean. It was the first time it was cohesive and polished and beautiful. And I think it's fair to say that it's one of the first games, in inverted commas, that sort of, well, you'll see. Yeah, I don't want to say too much. I did call it an existential classic, which I think is probably the strongest way to describe it before you've played it.
Yeah.
So and it's available on Steam if anybody's interested for £9.99, but there's now a deluxe version which is 20 whole English pounds.
Wow.
So I mean, they stepped it up. So yes, I'm really fascinated to see what you make of it. Good night, Luke. He's off for a bit.
Excellent. Thank you, Luke. Yes, obviously catch up soon with you.
Well, he wanted to see your early impressions, then we gave him 15 minutes of nonsense, as is our way.
Yeah, absolute nonsense. Yes, I mean, I'm not normally allergic to spoilers, of course, because I came up through an academic background, and in particularly the sciences, everything written is spoilers, or as they insist in calling it on the papers, the abstract. And that always gives away the meat of the rest of it. So I'm used to it. But for a game like this, perhaps spoilers are not the way to go. So
yeah, for something that you need to experience,
let's jump in and see where it takes me.
Yes.
Begin the game. I feel that's probably the way to go. Wow. Something is happening.
I also feel like, from memory, I feel like the narrator sounds a little bit like you.
Really?
Maybe.
And yet I get no residuals for it.
No. Sorry. I did look up who is the narrator's voice, but he's somebody that's done a lot of voice work, but not in anything especially celebrated, which is surprising to me because his work in this is absolutely fantastic.
Cool. Is it a British game, by the way, then?
I believe so.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't say the name of the studio. It was developed by Galactic Cafe, which is essentially just two blokes who wanted to make
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
One of them is called William Pugh.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Wow.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Okay.
There you go. Good luck. You look thoroughly perplexed. I'm enjoying it.
I mean, I'm currently perplexed by everything. So, what do I do?
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
Okay. All right.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
You know what you should do now, Ben? You should close that door. That's what you should do.
Are there any actual controls that I'm missing?
No.
Okay.
You can interact with things, I think, with the E button, but the rest of it's WASD, just walking. You just move through the environment.
Okay. All right.
Can you move? Are you able to walk?
Let's take a little look.
It's really interesting to me because I until this very moment, it hadn't occurred to me that you're going
All
to
of his
try to solve
co-workers
the
were
game.
gone. What could it mean?
But that's what you're going to do.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Good evening, Chris. Oh, it's a bit jerky. Is that the stream, or are you having that too?
I think it's the stream. I think it's fairly smooth for me.
It's a little bit jerky for me. We could try turning the quality down. It doesn't need to be hugely high quality.
You can have a go. If I do that, can I? Video. We could probably knock that down. Maybe that would help. Or okay, well, it looks probably all right. We can always do that. Let's try that. See if that makes a difference.
Okay. This is Stanley.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Did he? That makes me immediately want to try the one on the right.
Oh. Yeah. That is a bit weird though. It's not normally terrible to everyone.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
I love these. Yeah.
I turned some of these into wallpapers on my desk.
This is...
Stanley just stood there doing nothing at all. He seems to think I have nothing better to do with my time than to sit around and describe every fascinating little detail of his inability to do anything. This is why Stanley and I are on such good terms.
Disturbingly, I think I've worked in that office. More than once. Okay.
I think that's how we should run the Alkanost.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
I don't know.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
Well, you say that. I'm quite tempted to grab something weapon-shaped. Okay, right.
All that duct tape. You can tell he's not played Fallout. That duct tape left on the shelves like that.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Yeah, okay. Nothing to see out the window, fair enough. Alright, let's try this level if we can. Apparently, we cannot. Okay. Oh, this is a very different feel. The executive bathroom. Obviously locked. Of course it would be.
But look how swish and fancy it is.
Yeah. Nice little secretary's area.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never, yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Oh, I'd forgotten how perfectly the narrator pictures this. Like, right on the edge between sarcasm and cheerful pep. Hi, Merker. How are you? Sorry you weren't here last week. I wasn't feeling well. It's nice to see you tonight. And also, I worked very hard to keep absolutely no spoilers when preparing. Well, yeah, let's not give anything away. I've been really careful to really say nothing at all. Which is why I was looking so brilliantly perplexed right now.
Okay.
He did just try to collect a weapon from the broom cupboard.
This has a down, but there doesn't seem to be anything I can interact with. I'm wondering if for the first time
Descending
ever
deeper
this
into the
company is
building,
having a weekend.
Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Okay. What was that? Okay, I have absolutely no vision of anything in any direction.
Hi, drifting through space. Welcome.
Good evening. Okay, I'm actually supposed to be able to see something.
That's up to you. So, just to fill you in, drifting through space, this is Ben's first ever playthrough through Stanley Parable, and I've tried really, really hard to give him no spoilers whatsoever. So we just have to let Ben be Ben. But it's lovely to have you here. It's yeah, welcome.
Yeah, so I've just gone down in a lift, and now there is no light at all.
Can you move though?
Apparently, but I can hear footsteps, but then they come to a stop. And because I've got no indication whatsoever of which way I'm facing, it's not like in the real world where you'd know roughly whether you were turning the right way. I don't think I'm looking straight up, but there's no way of telling. I get like a step or two in any given direction, and then I hit something.
And then you stop.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm looking it up.
Yeah. Yeah, you could well be right, Merker.
Is the narrator saying anything?
No. No, all I can hear
He's
is
not
an
humming
occasional
or making
footstep.
a sound.
And I can't... Well, at the moment, I can't seemingly interact with anything.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh, there
So
we go. I've
apparently
got
there's
something.
an elevator. Oh,
Got
okay.
something. It's very, very dark, but I've got a bit of light and some movement. Okay. Okay. I got too excited there. Is that the elevator there?
Well, this game does delight in confusing and messing with you quite a lot. So I can't say whether or not it should be dark.
Okay, that is probably the way back to the
Stanley
lift.
walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Is that what that says? I can't read anything, so let's assume that's the large door, yes? No, apparently not. Can't open that. Okay. So there's... All I've got is the red light at the end there, but I have a feeling that's the lift. I think that's where I came from. I certainly can't see any writing saying mine. Ah, there we go. Got it. Off to the side. Excellent. Mind control facility.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Or the coordination, in fact. But let's see. Right. Okay. Good. Nice hanging walkways and catwalks. That's bound to end well. Oh, that's weird. Okay. There's some all work and no play stuff going on here, I think.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
I'm actually a little bit surprised by how diverse the camera angles and positions are. I'd have expected everyone to be in a completely uniform office with the completely uniform camera in exactly the same position. But they all seem to be in slightly different positions. There's even different decor in some of these offices, you know.
I know, crazy.
So this is a quite well decorated Orwellian nightmare.
Yes.
Ooh, other things.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Well, possibly.
No, this is the original, the base version. Sorry to answer Murphy's question.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
I'm just wondering, is I'm beginning to suspect Stanley isn't actually a person.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy
But he
or
is a
sad
person.
or content. Walking, eating,
got a cubicle
working.
and everything.
All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Okay. I actually like your...
Dismantle it.
I like the approach.
Betty wishes he'd picked up some duct tape now.
Definitely. Okay. I have some multicolored lights. They play slightly different beeps when you try to push them. Oh, that looks like a big red button that should never be pressed.
You know what that means.
Absolutely.
Get Ewan to press it.
Okay. It doesn't appear to actually do anything yet, though. Okay. No, the beeps, the tones do change, but it's just random.
Mm.
Yeah, they're not specific to the button you're looking at when you press. And that you can't interact with. Okay. So
Oh, Chris is so sensible. He says you don't walk, you walk away and don't press it because you don't even know what it does.
I mean, you're absolutely right. Obviously,
Like
that's the right thing to
never
do
played a game.
because, as you correctly point out, there's no possible way of knowing what it does. It could be a boat, possibly one with a complicated rear end. You never know.
Well, we do like a complicated rear end though, so don't rule it out on that basis.
Okay. So I've got 2 screens in here. I think that bit I've done before. This bit. Ooh, what's that? Okay. 1. 2.
Your numeracy skills are excellent, Bucky.
It's one of my special powers. What can I tell you? Um, 5. 5 is probably not much use to me. What happens over here? Okay, found 3. We'll try 3.
I think my best friend is trying to rile you up.
If it's the same pattern as the other, there should be a 4 over here somewhere, I guess. Nope, too far.
I don't remember this room being this dark. But then again, it could just be different experiences.
Okay. I can't see a 4. What's that up there? Oh. So is there a way up? I'm wondering if I should try and adjust the brightness of the game. Is there an option, do you think, to raise the brightness a bit so I can see what I'm doing a bit better?
Yeah, that might be worth it because it is
Let's give it a
very
try, just in case. Video. Nope, doesn't seem to have one. Okay.
Huh.
Fair enough. Okay. So, this is just the brightness that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Okie dokie. Okay. Right. Okay, Nope, that takes me back to there. Okay. Five. That's 1 and 2, isn't it? Okay, that's 1 and 2. You see, I think that up there is another number. I can't actually see which number it is, but that could be 4, which means I've got to get up there.
Are you trying to backtrack, or are you trying to go further?
I'm trying to find a staircase or something.
Okay.
Because going around here, I found 1, 2, 3, and 5, and I'm sort of cautiously trying to avoid pressing. I'm going to avoid pressing 5 because I've done 1, 2, and 3. And there's another button up there, you see. But I can't see any obvious way to get to it. And the room isn't entirely symmetrical. The problem is it's actually quite hard for me to see what I'm doing, so I can't easily spot. I mean, I might have walked past the staircase a dozen times, you understand. That bit is the down and up that takes you across the middle, and there's no up from there. That looks like it could be an up, but I don't know if I can get any real height from it.
Yeah, I don't understand the brightness thing is odd.
All right. I get up there. There's no way to go sideways from there. The other way. No, that doesn't go anywhere. You just go up some stairs and then it ends. Okay. Is there something like a... You can't interact with that. You can interact with those, but they don't do anything.
If you at any point want a hint, I could nudge you. But if you just want to fathom it all out on your own, then I'll let you do that too.
Oh, that's... That seemed more optimistic. Hang on a second. Okay. somewhere. And there's 4. Look at that. Okay.
Oh, number 4. Beep. You made a button go beep, Bucky. How do you feel?
Well, I mean, quite good. Except, of course, now I can't work out how to get back down again to 5. 1 second. I'm basically having to do this by trial and error because it's so dark I can't see where the staircase is I came up.
Well, at this point, I'm offering you a nudge. Do you want it? We're in the game in any way. It's just another way to think about it.
Okay.
There is a power facility room.
A power button in this room?
In a room, you will find that there is a power facility where you can turn the power on. Chris and I were just talking sort of quietly to each other. We're both surprised that the narrator hasn't poked you at it yet.
No, not up. Thank you. Sorry. Now that I've found the staircase, it turns out I can't not find the staircase every time I walk anywhere. So... Right.
I think the narrator's on the Actors Guild strike. Bless him.
Okay.
Come on, narrator, do your job. Oh, you poked 5. Beep.
Yes, pressed 5.
What happened?
Nothing. Mind controls. Idle. Awaiting input. Huh.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
So system power off would be logical. It doesn't feel like enough, though. I feel like this needs to be destroyed.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over?
Well, apparently not.
Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away.
Except if I was
And
under
yet,
someone else's command,
even
that's
as
what
the
they
immense
wanted me to
door
work.
slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Did he? Okay.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
What a lovely story.
Well, yes, it is a lovely story. Except it's an absolutely brutal story.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay, so that was one of 19 endings, and that was called the Freedom ending, and I'm putting it in the Discord because I will collect the endings as we find them.
All right.
Congratulations, though. You finished the game. Now do it again.
19 different endings.
Well,
The
18
meeting room.
now.
Yes,
and
that's where
the
everyone
deluxe
would
version.
be. Stanley just needed to
But
get
can
to the
I tell you
meeting
as
room,
well,
and from then
the
on,
most,
he
and I
would
watched
never be
you play this
alone
when he was
ever
quite young. The
again.
most spectacular thing I've ever seen is somebody just staying in his cubicle and closing his door twice. That was beautiful, Ben. I congratulate you. And now you're moving like a man with purpose.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors,
Look,
he
here you
entered
go.
the door
Shut
on
up,
his left.
narrator.
This
It's
was
not
not
about
the correct
you.
way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
No, he just wanted to annoy the narrator.
Fair.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Yes,
really worth it being here in the
15
room.
minutes and nonsense.
Rude
What's
but
the welcome
eager
back
to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
But I
And so
also
he
don't think that
detoured
penny's
through the
dropped
maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
No, no, he didn't.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left. Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake. No,
My mistake.
no, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh, dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, this is going
No,
splendidly.
no. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes.
Sure, get right on
Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
Not pleased about the narrator suddenly. Okay.
Yeah.
All of his co-workers were gone.
So that
What
was
could
the
it
confusion
mean?
ending.
Stanley
Congratulations.
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure.
I think
Come, Stanley.
I did.
Let's find the
But I also
story.
think Ben was concentrating too hard to really be paying attention, so I think I got away with it. This is the hearts and balloons and flowers ending, Ben. That's what I said.
No, that one, I think.
See, clueless. Absolutely oblivious to me.
Yeah.
I could say anything right now. Honestly, anything at all.
I don't think you could, really. But I know what you mean.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Voice by this point. Okay. What are we doing? We're going this way.
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from.
No.
Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
That does seem to be the only thing we can do, which is, you know... That's a shame. We'll get there.
Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Huh.
Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all.
No, don't say that. We
both
win.
know you
There
didn't
you go.
put in
We
any
won.
actual work for
Job
that
done.
win. Some people
So,
win fair and square.
what are we doing
and
next
this was
week?
not one of those situations. Okay? I'm getting weirded out by
Thanks for
whatever
watching,
this place
guys.
is. I don't care what might happen this time.
All
I have
done.
to restart.
Compared to our record, what was it? 7 Banner Saga, 8 Banner Saga episodes?
It was a successful Banner Saga.
It was beautiful.
All right, I've got a
Okay.
solution. This time, to make sure we
I,
don't get lost, I've employed the help of the
think you
Stanley
should go for
Parable
another run, Ben,
Adventure
honestly.
Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Because you haven't won yet.
So is there, shall we say, a best ending, or are they all just different endings?
You see? The line knows where
mean,
the
people
story
end up with
is.
their favourite
It's over in
endings.
this direction.
Right, yeah.
Onward, Stanley,
Yeah.
to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't
And they're
wherever
not,
we
like,
end up be our
universally
destination,
terrible.
even if
There's
there's no
lots of
story
different-
there? Or to put it another way, is the
Yeah,
story
lots
of
of
no
different
destination
outcomes.
still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, Are we implying a journey such
By the way,
that a
in case you're not
destination
reading
is
chat, I'd just like to
inevitably
point out
conjured
that
into
Luke's laughing at
being
you struggling
via the
with
very
the door.
manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right? Okay. Now, if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office, in fact, the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective
love it going over the
construct?
chair.
Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Turn around and look at how crazy that line is going. Oh, it gets Oh, you rebel, Ben, you rebel.
It usually only gives you one route you can actually go, but as a consequence, you don't literally have to follow the line, I
Yeah,
feel.
what are you going to do about that then?
Cut the music, go back and look at that fern.
What do I need to note about the fern?
Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
I don't believe you.
It is a little bit like, it feels like I'm standing in between two
Wait,
versions of you.
We're back at the office?
And they don't get along very well.
Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
Confirm.
Yes,
I'm wondering if
very
he's
good.
having fun yet. What?
Okay, does that go to a different place?
Maybe the narrator's going to plant some evidence.
Okay.
Oh, no, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
No, the line is not your friend. The line does not help.
You know what, Stanley?
How are you feeling, Ben?
I say
You all
forget
right?
the adventure line.
Yeah.
What's it ever done for us?
Yeah,
We're
I mean,
intelligent
just
people,
a little
right?
bit
Why can't we
schizophrenic,
make up
if
our
you know what I
own
mean.
story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Oh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction? Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be?
I feel,
Go wild.
Ben,
Use your
I need to
imagination.
hit It's Ben's
Whatever
night
it
off
might
and
be,
he'll
Stanley,
drink.
I'm ready for it.
I don't want to waste that button and the point, so let's just assume I've hit it and you have a drink now.
I think that might be a wise thing to do, yes. Because
Yeah.
this is not my friend, this corner. There is no...
Oh, Luke. Luke hit it, see? Excellent. Oh, Annie resplends. It's all happening here.
Right, okay.
This does end. I mean, when you quit the game.
Yes, it's...
Or am I?
Given that various parts of this
not
building
you
do not
again.
exist in
Stanley,
like Euclidean space.
I'd also like to veto the line from having any
Also,
role in our
Lucas expecting
awesome
you to
new
pump
story.
something.
No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine. Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination
Confirm.
corresponds with
There
the
you go, you've got to
counter-inverted
confirm when you get
reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
You're not going to open the left door?
Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's
Look
what
at
this
the
is?
leaderboard
It's all
somewhere.
one
No,
giant
I think
ending?
there's a leaderboard, hang on.
And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again.
Magic.
Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped. Does that mean, did we do it?
That means we won.
Did we break the
Excellent.
cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we?
I
Eventually.
feel you're giving me a look, Ben.
Well, in the meantime...
Okay.
So there is a room that all of us are waiting for you to get to. And you will know it when you get there, but we're
All of his
eager
co-workers
for you
were
to find
gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
it. Moving like a man with purpose again. Go on, Bucky.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Actually, no. He wanted to go past that lift that he jumped down the first time he went this way.
Wow. Yes, this room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley.
Yes, he will.
Someone
I
you've
already made my
forgotten
prediction.
about. Please,
I said
stop
that you
trying to
have
make every decision by
absolutely
yourself.
no problems doing
I'm
it.
not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Okay.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Look at Ben's face. He is deeply unhappy.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
I'm sorry, in my brain there's going to be a press something to show respect coming up in a second.
So he
Let's
went
do
further.
that now.
He imagined that he came to two open doors
thank you.
and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought
sort of
that
hoping
his
little
decisions
bobbleheads
would
of
mean
movement
something
for you
was
and show
almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it
Always
with many
there for
possible
respect,
paths
yes.
and destinations.
Yes, thank you, Mark.
Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. and down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions, and down another was a game with a baby, and he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
I don't trust the narrator at all.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Question nothing.
Yes. I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley
Poor
pushed
Ben,
a
you're
button.
so rebellious.
And I Wait, Stanley thought to himself.
Would you
Am
like
I
to
sure
take a break
that the
in a
orders
minute?
stopped coming in?
As
How is
we've
that
just
possible?
done a sort of restart.
They never
yes,
stopped.
That's not a bad idea.
Surely I was mistaken.
I mean, I know it's not really a restart, but you get the point.
Well, it's up to you because the narrator takes note of whether or not you're moving.
Well, I'm sure that's true, but there is also a pause game button,
Oh, let's do that then.
which I didn't. There you go. Look at that. The game is now
Beautiful.
paused. Excellent.
Perfect.
Now, of course, it's entirely possible that's not really real.
Mhm.
If you see what I mean. Maybe it's actually not paused at all. Maybe it's doing something else.
Oh, you're doubting everything now.
Yes, but
Cecina,
nonetheless,
passing people.
yeah, we will give it a shot and see what happens. So yes, take a short break. Back in just a few minutes to have a go at this run through. Okay.
Yes. See you in about 5 minutes, guys. I'm not real. I've never been real. I'm a collective figment of your imagination. I'm like a hysterical manifestation that you three needed. Yeah, I'm not real.
Excellent. See you in a few minutes, people. And we're back for more of the Stanley parable. Okay.
The game you will never forgive me for.
Well, I don't know that's literally true.
Figuratively, though, we're on the money.
In the fullness of time, when at the appropriate juncture, when the moment is ripe.
When you served your
When
sentence.
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single
I'm not
person
sure I have
here
any game
either.
sound.
Feeling a
There is a
wave
game
of
sound.
disbelief, Stanley decided to go up
there
to
we
his
go.
boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk,
Oh,
pulling
did you-
books
sorry,
off
I
the
missed it.
shelf,
Did you have
looking
the please
behind
die
paintings,
prompt?
desperate for
Did I
clues
have
to
what,
his
sorry?
situation.
The
But his
please
attention
die
was
prompt.
caught by a
Yes.
keypad behind the boss's desk.
In that case, you
What
have
could its
completed the
purpose be?
apartment ending.
In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
What?
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Yes, I know. But
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad,
this time,
Stanley
the
happened to
number 4
input the
produced number
correct
6 the
code
first time.
by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
oh god, right.
What are you up to down here, Bucky? What's your plan?
I don't exactly have a plan in the strictest sense.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Because you get a limited number of, decision choices, if you know what I mean.
So,
The
yeah.
lights rose
I mean,
on an enormous room
guess you
packed
could
with
think of
television
it a bit
screens.
like a
What horrible
fighting
secret did this
fantasy,
place hold?
really.
Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
And for all.
Okay.
Yeah.
It definitely has happened more than once. You're quite right.
Once and twice and some other times for all. And some more. You know, I remember on Springwatch one year, Chris Packham was talking to a lady who was doing intelligence experiments on crows.
Oh, yeah.
And what she was teaching... Well, she was teaching them that... well, the first thing she taught them was that if she put a seed in a long cylinder, like a cylinder jar, with a bit of water at the bottom, beyond their reach, they would naturally just go and pick up stones to raise the water level until the seed was within reach of them.
Okay.
So, I mean, first of all, that's incredible because, you know, that whole Eureka thing that the Greeks got up to, that took a couple of thousand years for us to get, but the crows are like, nah, I got this. Anyway, she then started trying to teach them to count. So she would make the seed available after a certain number of rocks had been dropped in the water. So maybe sometimes they needed 3 rocks or 5 rocks or whatever. But I sort of, my point is, I feel like the way you're obsessively pressing these buttons is like one of those crows.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power... Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you?
I'm very curious
After they
to see
kept
what
you
happened.
enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are said to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley?
Beautiful.
It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk
Chris's
about you,
point is, at least
about
the press
me,
had evidence that
where
they were
we're
accomplishing
going.
something.
What all
Yeah,
this
yes,
means,
it's
I
true.
barely know where to
This is
start.
actually the thing I wanted to do
What's
the
that?
first time. I didn't
You'd
want
like to know
turn
where
it
your
on because
co-workers
I thought
are.
it would,
A moment of solace before you're obliterated.
come online, and I didn't
All right,
want to
I'm
turn
in
it
a
off
good
because I didn't
mood.
think that
You're
was
going to die
sufficient
anyway.
enough. So
I'll tell you
hopefully
exactly what happened to them.
This
I
is the ending I was
erased them.
after.
I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock, why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley?
being robbed of
Is
my
it that you have no
explosion.
idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off?
No, I didn't
I
want
mean,
to turn
look
it
at
off.
you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room.
Perfectly happy
These
to let it
numbered
end.
buttons. No, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button. Or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's
I feel
30
like
seconds
Trump
you have left
played
to
it.
struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then
And find this ending.
no
That's
ending.
what I need.
Just you being
Yeah.
blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life?
This
Or
is
will
the-
you let
this
it go
is what I wanted
peacefully?
to do the first time,
Another
but it didn't let
choice.
me.
Make it count. Or don't. It's all the same to me. All a part of the joke.
Or at
And
least
believe me,
let me know how to
I
get
will
it.
be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say happily ever after.
Congratulations, you have found the countdown ending. And guess what? So good. What I find interesting about that ending, though, is that games they're normally aware of the time that you're investing in them, and they make it worth your while. And that's the transaction of playing games. They are fun, so you play them.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
And it's really bold in how it does it. It does it knowingly and deliberately, and somehow it does it in such a way that you buy into it and continue to...
The lounge was sublime, a work of art. What was it about this room that called so deeply? But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Oh, did you go left or right that time?
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Right. This is a route I haven't taken before.
Okay.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Door? I'm curious. It looks like you took the right door. Yeah.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
You're really obsessed with his office.
Well, once you get on that track, it's the way you go, if you know what I mean.
The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere. Could he really be all alone? This was too much for Stanley to take. Too much for any man to take. He fell to his knees, bursting into half moans, half sobs, the guttural retching of life from a man denied any hope, any reason to keep going. Here on the floor, he lay prone, paralyzed by fear for nearly a full hour. But when at last he began to move about and survey the situation, he found a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could it mean? Was it a sign of hope for Stanley's future? Alas, it was not. For although this keypad guarded the terrible secret of Stanley's past, it had been assigned a 4-digit code so devious and so random that no man could ever hope to guess it. 2845. Statistically, nearly impossible to guess blindly, ever. Stanley simply began entering random codes into the keypad, knowing full well the sheer statistical unlikelihood that this would ever result in a correct combination. If he knew that the combo was 2845, it would be another story entirely. But no, this is what he was going to do. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Okay.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
You do have a number of endings still to find on this side.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Oh.
Now the monitors
Oh,
jumped to
do you know
life.
what?
Their
I didn't
true
even
nature
realise.
Each bore the number of an
The
employee
first ending
in the
you
building.
found was the coward
Stanley's
ending.
co-workers. The lives of
The what,
so
sorry?
many individuals reduced to images
The
on a
coward
screen.
ending.
And Stanley,
Really?
one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Beautiful. So you have now found 5.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Yeah. Exactly.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all. And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew...
In order or
No,
out of
they
order?
don't.
I've tried it in order and out of order, and neither of them seem to achieve any difference.
No, they just beat.
blackness
So, there doesn't
and a
seem lot of
rising
point.
chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Right. So,
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Oh, do you want to try one more?
no, I think that will probably do me for tonight. Thank you.
That's that.
No, that was enormous fun, very confusing, and occasionally frustrating.
You found 5 endings though, which is, I mean, kind of amazing, really. Yeah. I did not realise that staying in your room and shutting the door was an ending. And that was the first one you did, which was stunning. And you did it twice, by the way.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful. So
Yes.
next week, Fright Fest?
Yes. So next Monday there won't be a Ben Fiddles, I'm afraid, because of Fright Fest in London. So
We are looking at something else that we can do in your absence, but of course.
that's good. That would be nice. So tomorrow, I think I'm right in saying Luke is planning to play The Expanse, Chapter 2.
Ooh, is that out? That's exciting.
That was the last I heard. I haven't actually checked with him today, so that could be out of date information. But I think he's planning to do that tomorrow night. And then at the weekend, there's a strange game to be played about the what was the it's I can't remember what
Totally
it's called.
real human adults.
Thank you. That's the one.
You're welcome.
Yes. Which I'm genuinely sad I'm going to miss that one. I think that's going to be very exciting.
As far as I understand it, it's a one-page rule set about stacks of animals wearing a trench coat trying to pass off as people.
Yeah, like standing on each other's shoulders and what have you, and wearing a trench coat and trying to pretend to be people. So yeah, that should be enormous fun. But I think the next game night is tomorrow night, and it'll be Luke plays The Expanse Chapter 2. I think that's the next one. Thank you, Socks. It's been fun.
Thank you, Bucky. It was, since the idea occurred to me to make you play this game, to make you play it, it struck me, and really everyone I mentioned it to, as the perfect game for you. And I think as a stopgap, I think it's a really, really lovely one to whip out every now and again.
Genuinely a very interesting thing. It's there is a slight role-playing element in the sense that it's not really a game you win or lose.
No.
It's extremely well constructed. I mean, the actual the nature of the universe is great, and little bits where you realise that the building you're in just doesn't obey the laws of physics. Tremendous. That little corridor.
Neither does the narrator often.
Yeah, the narrator is very good, but that moment where you suddenly realise you've turned right 5 times in a tight little square, and you're not back to where you started at any point, is fantastic. There are lots of little things like that really do appeal to me.
I have never seen your brow more furrowed than it was in the first half an hour of this game.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was a bit of a struggle working out what to do in the pitch dark. Just essentially moving in random directions in the hope that something would give me some indication.
But there are plenty more endings. You just kept following that particular track to its conclusion, but there are lots of branches that you have found some of the branches, but there are branches that come off, and also there's the whole of the left-hand path that you haven't really explored yet.
Well, I went down the left side twice.
The first, was it twice or that was just the one?
Yep, I went down the left twice and the right 3 times, I think. But one of the ways down the right takes you straight back to the left, effectively.
It was Merca was expecting more chaos. Sorry, Merca. Sorry.
I am not an agent of chaos. What can I tell you? I'm not.
I am, but it's my day off. I take Mondays off. See, there's not much chaos to be had on Monday.
So I shall miss streaming next weekend, but I will leave you in the capable hands of Ewan and Luke, and I'm sure it will all be brilliant. And I believe there is one game evening that Ewan's without Luke as well, so it'll be his first ever time actually streaming the OBS part, actually being the host.
Oh, is that the Friday?
So I think that might be Friday, and so please be nice to him because he's going to be panicked and worried about that.
I will stand you into the mat.
Excellent. Thank you very much, everybody in chat. Thank you, everybody who catches up on VOD. Hope you had fun watching me blunder around helplessly.
That's what we all do, to be fair.
And thank you, Socks.
No, it's a pleasure, as always. Thank you, Bucky. And thanks everyone in chat for turning up.
Good night.
Bye.